Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus again. For those of you who are probably hoping that I had some fantastic, wonderful news, exciting to tell you that will give you a lift, then you probably going to have to flip this script because before I can give you any of that kind of information, I got to first complain. I got to give you the negative stuff first. And so if you don't want to hear the negative stuff, you can just maybe catch another video. But what I want to talk to you about during this moment in time is several things. One, I'd like to talk to you about a textbook approach to create and establishing heaven on earth. Maybe that's a subject for another video I've done, because as I think about what I've written here, I don't see how that's going to happen. But I also do have down here that slave and master trying to master the world. And who is that slave master that's trying to master the world? Each one, every dictator on the face of the earth is trying to master the world. Don't think that that attitude stops when you just conquer one people. I want to say this to you though. You hear a lot of stuff about Donald Trump. I heard last night that he's telling the people to load up the guns or something. I don't have that quote just right, but he's saying stand by because he wants to be in the next election, and if he loses, he wants them to come ready to kick butt. Can't understand why a person say I want to be president of the United States, and yet asking those who support him to lock their guns up and get them ready, so when he loses, they can come and force him in office. I don't know what the other people are going to be doing while they're being forced. But I want you to know that Trump is not running for president in 2024. It appears that he's trying to start this war that I'm just mentioning so he can stay out of jail. This young man has done criminal activity ever since he's had the opportunity to do it. And he's gotten away with it all of his life. And he can't even accept the fact that he might even be considered having to be responsible or pay a cost for what he's done. So he's just telling people who he can use. And who can he use? People who think that he's white and right, who think that he has enough money to do anything for them, and that he cares enough about them and for them that if they got in trouble, he would take care of them beyond his need for them. I guess to that, they don't care. But anyway, the reason for this is that this happens is because America were taught about God from the mouth of evil. This is why this is happening. A misguided nation. This nation, you've heard me say it many times, is on its way to hell. Misguided nation. Every move that the nation takes on one level or another cause pain and suffering. It doesn't matter whether it's Republicans or Democrats. But what has always been tried, nothing has ever worked, because the American people have not been taught about God from the mouth of those who honor God. No, they've been taught about God from slave masters, from murderers, from dictators, but never by anyone running power that gave an expression, an image, something to replicate what God would be all about. No, my friends, this hasn't happened. People in Congress are being sidelined because they have been honest. We all are familiar with that here in the United States. People wouldn't side with evil, and yet in certain places evil had enough evil around it to get them back in positions of power, and now they want to punish everybody who represented niceness, who represented being righteous and true and staying against evil. Now, so now evil comes out and says it's time for punishment. See, what people around the world is understanding, and America's finally coming to that point, is that America is one of the most dangerous nations on the face of the earth. And this is why we don't have gun control. You remember back in, oh, you older guys, you remember all of the Western movies? Everybody walk around with a gun. Some guys want to prove that they were fast and start stuff. Other people just want to have that gun. You know, for even when they start putting guns away, you thought you were bad just because you had a gun. Trouble just walked with you every step you made when you have a gun. And so they're trying to say, well, we got to have guns, but now we don't need the little 6-shooters. We want automatic weapons. Walk the street with. Why? Because this is an evil nation. And guns represent death. And it doesn't represent death from defense. It represents death from trying to take something. Nobody's trying to take anything, you don't have anything to defend. So guns represents death from an oppressor. Guns represent death from an abuser. That's what it represents. And so America understands that America is one of the, most dangerous nation on the face of the earth. And this is why you can't mess with these guns. And people who use guns, no, police, military, whatever, you can forget about trying to handcuff them because they are in place to do the work. And you don't ever forget this, to do the work of the slave master. In America, what can you trust? I mean, what can you really trust? Can you trust that the Republicans got a plan for the nation that works? I mean, has it ever presented itself? Can you trust that Congress can work together to do things that represents we the people? Can you trust that the Supreme Court will protect the sanctity of what they call important, the Constitution, the sanctity of human rights, basic premises of the Constitution? Can you trust that you can be protected by the Supreme Court when they have a record of violating the most basic of moral codes? And this isn't a slip. We found that out. This isn't a slip. This is the way that evil works. Every institution, every department has its share of evil. Now, what Trump basically did when he came out, he recognized this. He just called it and brought it bigger than it really is. See, yes, all of this evil stuff, every system of government on the face of the earth is corrupt, has a measure of corruption, but at the same time it has some goodness in it. That's how you fool the people, because you got some goodness in it. See, Republicans in the United States, here in America, at least right now, seem to have no goodness. So they make the Democrats look good because the Democrats got at least some goodness. It falls short of doing what God would have them do. It falls short of doing what righteousness and love would allow them to do. But they do not appear to be as corrupt. And when you have corruption all around you, who do you turn to? You might hear someone say, can someone please keep Trump, this mouthpiece of evil? Can you keep him off the air? Some people think that he's sick, that he needs a hospital. They feel that the church can't help him because he's conquered religion. That part of religion which you call religion, and that's the big mega churches and all the basic, well, not all of them, maybe, I don't know. But the prosperity preachers and anybody that's reaping a lot of money. And who has conquered them? One of the most evil men that we know of during our lifetime. He was not the most evil, perhaps, but he's one of them. He acts as, when he talks about the things that he talks about, like condemning the media, condemning all of these things, taking them to his highest order. What he is basically saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that he plans to take them to this highest order. Whatever he is calling corruption today, he's just using that to get you to side with him. Listen, everything that Donald Trump is telling you about what he sees and how he's denigrating all your stuff that you've seen your whole life, he's trying to make it look so bad and make himself look so good by telling you that and tricking you again by being bold and white and got you thinking that he's rich. You know that's what the American thing is all about. That he's the one that's going to protect you just for you to give him the power and be willing to scare a lot of people like Graham, like the Senate, and well, I guess I can say the whole Congress that's Republican. Scare them to put him back in office. For what reason? That he's supposed to fix these things? That's the con. That's the big lie. He wants to take it to its highest extreme. What he says about Black Lives Matter and some Tifa group, he's just using that because he wants to make them look like Boy Scouts. And when you hear that Boy Scout, you thinking he's talking about take the power that he's gotten, you thinking that they have. He really got none. But what he and his guys who walk around with guns causing this oppression, taking all your rights away and treating you like shown up slaves, black, whites, and others. Wow, man. This is what makes him look like an evil man. This is what makes him look like a devil. You see, he has no solutions. None whatsoever. And only evil stuff comes from his mouth. A man that hates anything that is not of him. Anything that's not him. Now, that's all evil people, but the most evil, I'm talking about dictators now, even though I'm referencing Trump here in America, but I'm talking about all evil people. But remember, all of the ugly stuff, the real nasty stuff that he says about other people, remember this. He's just covering what he is about. If he gets you focusing on that in other people, then he'll use that to slip in on you and slap the hell out of you. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the slave masters, as I mentioned earlier, is trying to conquer the world. And you might say, which one? I want you to know if it has one of them. The violence against Ukraine. This is evidence that there's very little God in humankind. The Ukrainian people that resist and die in resisting this evil demon called Russia and Putin that's attacking them, destroying them, killing them, they're standing up. That's godly. Now, the people who are offering to give them some support, who give them guns and promising them tanks, these are not godly people. These are people who want to pretend to be godly. They want to do some godly, some good stuff. Here, take this gun. This will help you out. But you are still dying. They're not going to stand with you. They're not going to put their lives on the line with you. And so while they are not doing that, Russia, the evil monster used by Satan, is killing people. And all of us, the United States, the rest of the world, sit back. Oh, that's so sad. You see, so each dictator, let me just say, take a notice, say this to you, ladies and gentlemen. When you hear me say that people aren't trying to be godly people, because as I mentioned in most of my videos, is that a godly person loves and loves mean everybody. So wherever a godly person sees somebody being mistreated, a godly person got a job to do. And a godly person is not going to find any rest, any comfort, any sitting down, having a cigar, laughing and talking, going partying, tracking vacations while other people sleeping on the streets, while other people got no food, while other people are jobless, don't have health care, education, all these kinds of no. Godly people ain't going to do that. Godly people are going to do just like Gandhi did. They're going to stand up for it. And people who were not godly, who started becoming godly, are going to do just like the Kennedys did. And people that are godly are going to do just like Dr. King. They're going to do just like Malcolm X. And people who are not godly are going to pretend. They're going to talk about God and what God is about. But they're not going to not only enforce it with their congregation, they're not going to take those steps themselves. In fact, they're going to change the whole conversation and accept the world the way it is, all of its illness. That's what they're going to do. Why? Because there's no God in them. Now, let me just share with you. There might be a lot of people, I don't know, I haven't heard many people talk about godliness and God's plan and how he would produce paradise on earth. But I do know one person. And if you listen to a guy by the name of Eddie Marcus, his advocate, his spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people, which means any human being that's on the face of the earth got the right, according to that power that put them on this earth, to live here on this earth as if they're in heaven, provided that they would have the resources available given to them, that they would have the skills in within, the know-how, the desire to be able to cause one side, that's we the people, to work with the other side, the spirit that has been provided through the resources, and cause a manifestation of that which we require to say that we're satisfied with our living life as though we're in heaven. And that by engaging everybody in the process, making them entitled by being part owners, and doing it in such an abundance that nobody falls short of anything. Now see, this was as a textbook that how this is done. But also the opposite is the thievery, the theft, is that you do it some other kind of way. Some socialistic, some communistic, some capitalistic, all kind of stuff. All that stuff is failed. And people know it. There's no way on earth that you got all this heavenliness happening. And when you hear this, what I just got through sharing with you, you've been hearing this here for 40 years. Because I've been speaking about it for 40 years. And I've been making it easy and simple. Tell you how little kids can understand it. And for 40 years, you have never seen anybody on television talking about, let's do this. You never heard any politician saying, well, my constituents are interested in making sure that everybody got what they need on earth. No, nobody says, no politician says my constituent is concerned about that. No, they just get up there talking about us versus them. And we the people sit out here with that attitude, us versus them. And going to the church and coming back with us versus them. The godly people are dead. And the upcoming godly people haven't gotten there yet. Haven't gotten there yet. Look at me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm 70 some odd years old. I'm still living. Oh, you know, I'm experiencing the difficulties that people go through when they get when they age. Well, I'm going to go through it just like everybody else. Why? Because we haven't prepared the system to be able to deal with the situations like this. And that drives me upset. Because I wish we had it together. Not only that, if I keep living, I'm going to be brought down to a point that somebody might have to be cleaning my butt like I'm a baby. You think I like that? You think I want that? But that could possibly happen. That could possibly happen because we the people are not prepared for it. And so the only way to escape that, as far as I can tell, is for to stand up for righteousness in such a way that you can be a martyr. That you can stand up and expose evil and the devil and low downness in such a degree that the low down, dirty, evil, devilish people will come and kill you. I ain't got that righteous yet. They let me keep talking, and I'm still walking around here talking, but it's not offending anybody because the people, you the people that are listening to me, it doesn't mean anything to you. You'll go to church, you'll hear me talking, and when the election time come around, if Trump had to be on that ballot, the first thing you'll do is go there and vote for Trump and call yourself a child of God. Tricked. Tricked. Well, I don't know what I'm going to use for a title, but I think I will leave it right there. I think most of you who heard me today got a message. So until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye for now.